everyone, so today's video is going to be an art supply haul video. I recently visited two of my local art supply stores and I made a few purchases. I purchased some products that are new to me. They may not be new on the market, but I have purchased them now for the first time, and I'm going to try them out in upcoming videos, and you'll see what I produce with them and what I create with them. And also some of the products are products that I regularly buy, or just my extra products like brushes and things that I actually needed to purchase. But for most part, there are a couple of new items that I did buy that I'm really excited to try working with them and seeing what I can create with them. So I'm going to go through all the stuff that I purchased. Just a little disclaimer, I'm not sponsored by any of the brands that I'm going to be speaking about or showing you today. It's just products that either I like using, or products that I've seen or found now that I want to actually try out and I haven't used before. So let's get into the whole video. So the first purchase that I made, which is the one I'm most eager to try out, are the Derwent Chroma Flow pencils. Now this is a set of 24, and I've actually purchased this when I saw it at the shop. Now I've been wanting to purchase it for a while now, and I was waiting for it to arrive, and I was so glad when I saw it, because I've seen a lot of artists do reviews of these pencils and try them out with different styles and techniques, and they worked very well, and I wanted to see how they work for me and how I work with pencils. So I was definitely very excited to see these pencils come, and as I said, I purchased it the minute I saw it. I picked it up and I said I'm definitely going to purchase these. This is the one I'm most eager to try out on the project, and this will be a video in the future where I try these out. So as you can see, this is what the set looks like, and let us open it up, and then I can show you what the entire set looks like. Okay, so this is the top tray, and there we have the second tray. So you can see it's a good set of colors. There's a wide range of different colors, and I think this will be sufficient for me to create some really good pieces. So this is definitely one that I'm eager for. I see they got some really nice blues, so blue is my favorite color, so I'm really excited to try these out. So this is one that I'm so excited to try out, and I'm waiting to see what I can create with this one. The next one that I purchased is the Derwent Pro Color pencils. Now these pencils have been around for a while, but I've never purchased them because I never really thought to give them a try. I use a lot of Derwent products, and my favorite being the Inktense and the Lightfast pencils. But I wanted to give it a try, and my store only had this 36 set and not the 72. But from seeing the colors, I think they are sufficient for doing any artwork. I think they got a wide range of colors, and you can see they got a variety of colors. So I think this should be sufficient for me to try out and see how these pencils work and how they apply to my techniques and also to create artwork. So I think these are going to be really fun as well to try out. So I'm looking forward to trying these pencils out. Once again, this will also be a future video that I'm going to do, where I'm going to create a full piece of artwork using these pencils. So the next item that I purchased are the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens, and this is the black set. Now I wanted to try these out for a while as well, because I've been using a lot of different fine liners for my drawings and illustrations, and I never tried these ones out. So when I saw them at the store, I decided to just pick one set of these four so that I can try them out. And this will most likely also be a video where I create a full piece of art using these pens only. So you see they come in different sizes. It's a S, F, M, and a brush nib. So I'm really excited to see how these work. So this is another product that I'm waiting to try out, because I like using fine liners a lot. Then moving on to another item that's kind of new to me, but also not. I've used a lot of Inktense pencils. I've done my entire Animal Habitat art series using the Inktense pencils, and this is the Inktense paint pen set, and I bought this set number 1. It's only got 12 colors in it, but I wanted to give it a try and see how it works. So let's see. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, it's got a little swatch made for all the different colors and what they look like, and you can see it comes with a water brush as well. It comes with a little sponge, and I'm guessing that you can use the tray for your palette to mix your colors. And it comes in a little pan set, much like a watercolor set would come. So this is another one that I want to try out, because I've used the Inktense pencils, but I think a pan would make it much easier, because I really enjoy using the watercolor pans. I find it very convenient. So yeah, definitely I want to try these ones out. Sorry box, that was a bit unfortunate for the box, but okay, that's what these paint pens look like, and I'm definitely excited to try these out. You can see it's got quite a bit of colors on it, or in the set. There's quite a bit of colors in the set, and definitely it's something I'm eager to try out, because being in a pan may make it a bit more convenient than using the pencils. I'm not sure, but we'll see when I try it. As I said, once again, this may be, or most likely is going to be, another video on my channel at a later stage. Another item that I purchased, and this is actually not a new item to me. The Inktense pan set is, I've used Inktense pencils, but this, I've actually used this a lot. These are the Montmartre gouache paints, and they're just your regular tubes of paint. You can see it comes with a range of colors. I have used these a lot. It's just basically I bought this just as an extra pack of them, so because I'm using a lot of gouache recently. So this is just one of my favorite items that I use a lot, that I just wanted to basically get just an extra set of this. This was a set of 24, so definitely these are gouache paints that are really good, and I really enjoy using them. So this is one of my favorite items. I also got myself an extra tube of white designer gouache. This is by Dala, and this is just extra gouache for me to use, because I use a lot of white in my paintings, and it's always handy to have an extra tube of white for your gouache. And then another item that's new to me that I purchased is these are the Faber-Castell 24 watercolors. And these are watercolor tubes, and you can see these are the colors that come in the set, and it also comes with a palette, a brush, and this is what the tubes look like. Now I'm going to open it, because I haven't opened this as yet. So let's see what it looks like when you pull it out. Okay, so we've got a little booklet. I think this tells you all about the product, and yeah, I think it talks about the techniques, and it's a little booklet that comes in there. And then if I open this out, it's very nicely presented. You can see these are the paints. There's the entire set of 24 paints, and you can lift them up, and then let's take this one down. I'll remove this one, and okay, there we go. There is our paintbrush. They've got a Faber-Castell number 6 round paintbrush. I use a lot of rounds for my watercolors, so I'm really happy about that. And it comes with a very cute plastic palette. This is a very cute plastic palette, so I'm excited about this, because yeah, painting with watercolors is also something I enjoy a lot, and then I really like the packaging of it. So you can see a lot of thought went into the packaging of the entire set. So I'm really excited to try these watercolors. I've been using the I think it's been the Aquafine Daler Rowney watercolor set, and the Montmartre watercolor sets. The paint pans, and then I've been using the Montmartre watercolors, so this will definitely be something different for me to try out. So I'm also going to be doing a piece of artwork using these in a future video. So this is another one to look out for. And then speaking of paints, I've also just got myself a couple of different brushes. Now I usually look for the Rolf's round brush set, but I wasn't able to find it at my local art store where I usually buy it. So I just bought these to try out. These are the Art Ranges watercolor series. This is white nylon brushes. So there's a variety of different brushes. There's some rounds and flats. I think these are really small, but they can be used for a lot of fine detail or smaller paintings. And I've got actually a plan for these most likely in a future video. You'll see why. I'm going to share with you or show you one of my sketchbooks that I purchased, which I may be doing some gouache painting in it, or maybe watercolors, we'll see. But that's the one set that I purchased. And then I also purchased the Artist Ranges or the Art Ranges acrylic series. These are also very small browns and some flats, and it's basically the same as that, only these are the dyed nylon brushes, and this is for acrylics. So I think this will also be, and both sets got 8 brushes in each set. And then I also purchased, this is the Faber-Castell. I never even realized that Faber-Castell sells paintbrushes. I've seen the one that now I showed you in the set for the watercolors, but I've never known that they really sold paintbrushes. So this is a 5 paintbrush set from Faber-Castell. So it's definitely, I'm going to try them out. These are all the round brushes, and I really enjoy these. These can be used for watercolor. I can see these are watercolor brushes. So definitely I'm going to be using these with watercolors and maybe even gouache and see how they work. But I think these are definitely going to be good brushes, I would assume. I mean, from Faber-Castell we usually get good results from their products. So I'm assuming that this brush is also going to be a good buy. And also these are synthetic hairs, so this is definitely going to be something I'm going to use. Then I bought a bunch of other brushes. Now these are just random sizes that I use. These are the Pro Art Filbert brushes, and I use a lot of Filbert, especially for my acrylic paintings. I use a lot of Filberts. So I realized that I've had a lot of flats and rounds as my extra brushes. I don't have a lot of Filberts, so I just stocked up on some Filberts. So I've got some, this is a size 9, I've got a 2, 10, actually the random size, there's no more, 2, 6 and 1. So I've got just a few different sizes. Basically I use, mostly I'm using these sizes for my paintings. Usually these are the ones I use, especially for fur, so I'm using these a lot. But for larger paintings and especially for backgrounds, I think these will be perfect for them, because the Filbert brushes are very smooth brushes when you use them. So definitely I'm going to be using these a lot. So, and as I said, I don't really have a lot of Filberts, which I never realized, yet I use them mostly, but I don't have a lot of them extra ones. So I just picked up a few of these ones, and these are the, as I said, the Pro Art ones. And then these brushes are also Filberts, and these are the Prime Art Gold brushes. Now the Prime Art Gold brush, these are all Filberts, and they are different sizes. There's an 18, which is the largest one, 12, 8, 6, and yeah, 8, 6, and there's only one 8. And there's some 12. So yeah, I mostly use, as I said, these sizes, so smaller sizes and the medium sizes. So definitely I'm going to be using these for my acrylic paintings, especially. I don't really use these for my watercolors or gouache. I reserve these for my acrylic paintings or even my oil paintings. These Filberts can be used for those. So these are what I prefer to use, especially when drawing wildlife or portraits or landscapes. I use a lot of Filberts because I enjoy using them. So those are that. And then we're going on to the paper. Now the paper that I'm using, or the paper that I bought. Okay, first let me show you what I purchased, the bigger paper. So first I purchased an extra pad of my favorite paper that I use for my color pencil drawings. This can be used for watercolor. It is watercolor paper. This is the Prime Art Hot Press A4 size acid-free watercolor paper. It is a smooth texture because it is hot press, so it is smooth texture. There's not a lot of very smooth. There's no much texture on it. So this is definitely a paper that I use a lot, especially for my color pencil work. I use this all the time, and this is my favorite paper by far from all the papers that I've tried in the past. So definitely this is one. So I just got an extra pad of that. It comes with 10 sheets. And then I normally use the touch marker paper, but then I found this one. Now this one is a little thicker sheets, but it is marker paper. This is the Art Pad, Bleed Proof Art Pad by Typo. And it says it's suitable for blending markers and watercolor pencils. It's the A4 size, and it's quite smooth, the paper. and the sheets are quite thick. Now with the, not very thick like card, but they are quite thick compared to the touch paper that I usually use, because the touch paper usually is very thin and it looks more, you can easily think it's like sort of thin like a tracing paper, but it doesn't even bleed through, and I was really surprised at how that works. So this one's a bit thicker, so I wanted to give it a try and see if it works for my brush markers, because I use the Winsor Newton brush markers, so I was hoping that this may work for it. So I'm going to give this a try as well in a future video. This will be coming. So this is the sketchbook that I purchased as well. This is the Hahnemühle watercolor book. Now this is in the landscape version of it. I usually use the portrait version, or in my sketchbook that I'm working in, I'm using the portrait version. So this is the portrait one that I'm using at the moment with my sketchbook that I'm going to be completing soon. So this is the portrait version. It is the A5 size. So this is what it looks like with the portrait version. And this is what it looks like with the landscapes version. So I just bought a landscape version so that I can create wide spreads when I open it out, and then I can create a full landscape painting with gouache or watercolor. So this is the one that I purchased. And so the next two is the ones that I wanted to tell you about. These are the Hahnemühle Nostalgia sketchbooks. There are 80 sheets in each book. This is A6 size, this is the landscape, and this is the portrait. Now these are also one of my favorites, just as the watercolor. As I said, I work in multiple sketchbooks. So while I'm working with the watercolor book that I showed you now, I'm using the Nostalgia 2. I have used it previously with the A5 portrait version, where I completed my sketchbook, and I completed the tour. I did a tour of this sketchbook as well, and this is the A5 one that I've used, which is a very, I enjoyed using this paper. It's a very good paper, especially for ink work as well. It's perfect for ink. Or watercolor. I actually use watercolor and gouache as well. Works perfectly fine for all of those mediums. And then this was the A4 version of the book, and I've used this for my Animal Habitat art series, which I completed recently. So you'll see I did my Animal Habitat art series in this book as well. This paper is quite thick. It doesn't go through. As you can see, it does not really go through. I just left these pages in case something would go through, and I just put the little sheets so that nothing rubs off onto one another. But basically this is the A4 version, and then this is the A5 version, and I now got these little ones, which are the A6 ones of the landscape and the portrait. So I'm definitely really excited to try these out for maybe a little illustrations. That's what I was saying earlier on, that I wanted to use. I want to use these little brushes because they're really small brushes. I think they can really create some nice maybe landscapes, or quick landscapes, or quick portraits, or illustrations, or wildlife illustrations that I can do in a miniature scale compared to the larger scale that I usually work in. So this is future me. I actually went to another stationery and a craft and art supply store, and I didn't expect to really find anything different, but I see they've expanded their arts and crafts range a lot. So I actually headed over there a couple of days after I went to the art stores that I did my initial purchases from, and I purchased a couple of pads of paper that I think I'm going to try out, something new that I haven't seen before at the other art stores that I went to. So I picked up a few of them just to try them out and see how they work. So these are what I picked up there. So there was this is a Prime Art bleed proof marker paper. So this is an A4, and I want to try it out because it is also quite a thin paper, but it's very smooth, so I think it's going to work well for markers. But I haven't tried it out. It's something that I want to just try out and see how it works with my Winsor & Newton brush markers. And then another one that I found also there was a bleed proof marker paper as well. This one is by Pro Art. It's also similar texture to the one I showed you now. It also has a smooth texture, but I want to also give it a try and see how this one works with my markers. And another pad of paper that I picked up was the Fabriano mixed media paper. Now this one is actually an A3. I actually would have preferred a smaller size A4, but they didn't have it, so I just picked up an A3. And they say this one or this paper is ideal for wet and dry mixed media techniques. It's suitable for watercolor, acrylic, graphite, color pencil, charcoal, pastel, pen and ink. So I'm eager to try this paper because I've noticed one thing about it. Okay, one thing which is a very good thing is that it is quite thick. It has it's sort of like a card. It's really thick paper, so that's one good point. And the other thing, it has a smoothness to it, but it has a slight texture to the paper, which I think is very interesting for the different techniques you can use, and as well as the different mediums. So it'll be interesting to see how this works with all the different mediums that I use. So yeah, this is something I want to try out. I don't know how it's going to actually work. I haven't actually worked with actual mixed media paper. I've worked with with acrylic, for example, in my sketchbook, in a watercolor sketchbook or an ink sketchbook, but I have gessoed the paper first before working with acrylics. But generally I use my gouache in my watercolors and graphite as well, and ink as well, in my watercolor book, in my other sketchbook that I just recently completed, my ink sketchbook. So that paper could take the different mediums, or certain amount of the different mediums, but I'm not sure how this one works. It says it's for different mixed media, so I'm eager to try this out and see how it actually works. So the last item that I purchased at the store was the A4 canvas pad by Prime Art. It's 100% cotton, and this is the A4 size, and it is the blue series. Now I've been using the blue series stretch canvases by Prime Art. I prefer to use those. They are very smooth and they're perfect for really fine details, because I do realistic painting. I need to have those fine details for oils and acrylics. So definitely this canvases are really smooth, so they are smooth texture. So you can see it is going to be different working on it. It is primed, and it's not on a frame like my usual stretch canvases, or on a board like my canvas panels, but this is going to be different for me to try working on this kind of canvas sheets and see how it works with the paint. So I'm eager to try this one out. Like I said, I prefer this particular brand's stretch canvases as well, but I do use other brands of canvases. It depends on what canvases are available when I go to the store, or a particular size if I'm looking for, then whichever one's available, I use that. However, I do recommend, if you do buy a canvas that's a bit rough textured, you can use gesso and then sand it down, maybe 1 or 2, 3 coats of it, depending how smooth you want to get the canvas, and then that'll smoothen up your canvases. That's what I do with my canvases that have a bit more rough texture. So yeah, that's what I purchased from this store. Now back to the original video. So the next items I bought are basically my regular items that I use on a day-to-day basis with my artworks. But these are just things that I needed, and it's good to have extra off so that you've got it when you're working with it. And the first one that I bought are these display files, and these display files are really good to keep your artwork safe. I've been using these for many years, storing my artwork in them. They come with 20 sheets or pockets inside. These are the Miko ones. I use any brand. There's no particular brand I stick to, because I usually don't find the same brand over a period of time. They keep changing, so I just buy whichever one I get. I prefer to get the ones with the harder cover on the top. It protects the artwork better than the soft covers, but I do use the soft covers as well if I don't get them, because I've been saving my work or putting all my artwork, even my artwork from my primary school and high school years, I've put into these portfolio files, and I've kept them, and they're perfectly fine. Nothing has happened to them. And since 2008, when I really went seriously into my artwork, I've even got those artworks: color pencil, gouache, watercolor, ink, marker, even charcoal drawings. I've got all of them in these files. But with the charcoal, always remember to use a fixative over, spray a fixative over to seal in that charcoal, so that you don't obviously smear or smudge your entire drawing. You have to, with pastels or with charcoal, you need to basically spray it and use fixative to protect it from any damage or smudging, and then only you can put it into these files when it's completely dry. So I've been using these for a long time, all different brands, not specific brands, but I've been using these to protect my artwork. And my artwork, even from 2008, color pencil pieces, it doesn't matter what medium you're using, they are still in 100% condition. The paper hasn't gotten damaged, the artwork hasn't deteriorated. These have actually protected them from any damage. So maybe one day in the future I may show you those, but these are basically definitely something that I would recommend keeping your artwork, especially the individual sheets that are not in a sketchbook. It helps to protect them from any damage. So definitely I would try to keep them safe as possible. So if you got any artwork that's individual sheets, try to put them at least in these display files. If you don't not able to get any other sort of storage, these are safe to keep your artwork in. Or at least for me, I see that they are safe and nothing happens to them. So speaking of fixatives, these are the two fixatives I purchased. Now, the brand that I usually use is the Rolf's Artist Fixative. This is the clear matte for pastel, charcoal, pencil, and dried flowers. Light, fast, time tested. Now, this particular brand, the Rolf's brand, I've used this for my charcoal drawings for years. And my charcoal drawings, the paper hasn't yellowed. I've even used it on toned colored paper, and it is perfect for color sealing in your drawings. And it seals it completely. There's no smudging, and even when you slip it into those pocket sleeves to keep them safe, it doesn't smudge and nothing happens to it. Once it's completely dry, you pack it away, you are perfectly, your artwork is protected. So this is definitely one that I would recommend getting. But when I went to the first art store, I did not find this one, and I found the Artboard Artist Fixative. It's also a matte finish, clear matte medium for charcoal, chalk, crayon, pencil, pastel, dried flowers, and much more. Now, I don't know how this one works or reacts with paper. I haven't tried it out yet. This will be the first time. But when I went to my first art store, they didn't have this brand, so I had to buy this one. This was all they had, and I'm out of fixative, so I decided to just pick this one up and give it a try. I'm not sure how it works, but it should work pretty much the same as this one. But as I said, I haven't used it before, so this will be the first time me trying this one out. But then, like I said, when I went to my second store, I ended up finding the one that I usually use, and that's my Rolf's Artist Fixative. And I ended up picking one up of that because this is my tried and tested one, and I like this one. It does not yellow over time. It's perfect for sealing my drawings and protecting them. So definitely this one I would recommend. So the other items that I purchased are just my regular items I use on a day-to-day basis. I purchased these little bulldog clips, and these clips I use them just to hold my sketchbook open so that I can work with the pages flat. So I would just hook it onto the edges of the sketchbook, and then that would keep my sketchbook open when I'm doing a painting or a drawing. Another thing that I purchased is not something that I use, but it's something I think it's handy to have, is a bone folder. This is just to flatten out your paper, especially if you want to, like if I want to tear out a page or separate or make a smaller sheet from a larger sheet, and I want to have smooth lines that are completely flattened out when I fold the paper, then this is perfect to use to press it down so that you can get those folds really pressed down. Now these are mainly used, I think, for creating books and stuff like that, but this is definitely something I think it comes in handy at some point. So I just got one of those in case one day I may need that, since I saw it in the store. I normally don't see, I never saw it before in the store before. And then another thing I got are just some pencils. These are the Rolf graphite pencils. I've got H, 2B, 3B, and B, and HB. So these are just some graphite pencils. I use these to do my initial sketches, or sometimes just to do my planning and everything. So I just wanted to have these. If I do a proper graphite portrait, I use usually my either my Derwent graphite pencils or my Lumograph pencils. But for a just quick sketching and my illustrations and planning, I use pencils. So I need a lot of pencils. I go through them quite often. So I just got a few different varieties to use, from soft to hard leads. And then I also purchased a white chalk pencil. Now this I use a lot. I use this for my sketches when I'm doing the initial sketch on a acrylic painting. If I painted the background, I do the sketch with a chalk pencil. That way I have the initial sketch done onto paper, and then it can wipe off if I make a mistake as I'm drawing onto the canvas, as well as when I'm painting over, it'll disappear and you won't see the residue of the pencil left behind for the sketching. So I use the white chalk pencil. So this was something I didn't get for so long. So when I found it, I bought 2 of them. So this is the Koh-i-Noor Hartmut Gioconda white chalk. So it's the exact one that I usually use. So I'm very happy to have found this. So the other things that I got are the Faber-Castell PVC free eraser. And I use this all the time. This one does have dust though. It does leave a dust. So I found this one, which is the Faber-Castell dust free eraser. Now this one, they say it's dust free. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. But if there's normally residue from the erasings or dust from the erasings, I just use this old mop brush just to brush it away from my work, so that I don't smudge my work as I'm sketching, and then I just dust it away with this. So it's good to have a mop brush like this. That's a softer one, and you can just dust it off if you have any dust on your drawings or illustrations. The other eraser that I picked up is just a kneaded eraser, and my kneaded eraser, I do store it. I use the same one. This is the Faber-Castell as well, kneadable art eraser, and you can see I've got my one stored in here. This is also the Faber-Castell one, and you can see I'm using this one for a long time, and this is lasting me a long time. I do keep it, I'm not sure if they can dry out, but I do keep it in this little container that I just keep it in, so that it's kept from drying out. So I just got an extra one in case I need to replace it in the future. And then I just got a regular handheld sharpener. This is your regular one. This is a matte brand, but I don't really pay attention to the brand. A regular sharpener works fine for me. If I do have this one that I use. This is just an extra to have if I need one, but I do have this one that I use. This is your regular handheld sharpener, and I use this normally to sharpen my pencils. Now I use this also for color pencils or for a specific pencil if it's a really fine nib, and if it fits into the barrels, can fit into here. You can see it's a small barrel for a regular pencil. So if some of the pencils, like for example pastel pencils, are quite thick, they won't fit into the barrel, then I would use maybe one of these sharpeners. This is my Faber-Castell sharpener, and you can see it's got a large hole and smaller holes, and they say this is for the color grip. So I can use either of these ones, or if I want to use maybe my Derwent for my Inktense or any bigger pencil, larger pastel pencil, then I got a large and a smaller section there. So I like this one specifically because you can see the blades, and the reason why I like that is because, sorry, let me just get my little container for sharpening, then I can show you. So when I sharpen, I like to put the blade in and like to see how I'm sharpening. Now with a regular pencil like this, you would just sharpen like that, and then your pencil will get sharp. But with my color pencils, I prefer to sharpen them in a specific manner. So for example, if you want to sharpen this pencil, I would sharpen it with just the tip. I would hold the pencil and lean it down so that only the tip of the lead is by the blade, and then I would just slowly sharpen the edge of it, and you will notice there will be less wood getting used up for the pencil, and there will be more, you'll just be sharpening up the lead, and very little of the wood will be lost. So you will not lose a lot of the pencil, because if I were to just go in and sharpen my color pencils like this, I would lose a lot of the wood of the pencil, and that will basically finish the pencil faster. So for color pencil, I do try to use I try to keep the edge really, just the nub of it with the lead showing, to get that sharp as possible. And then I obviously, if I want a really sharp nub, then I would use one of my Derwent or my Faber-Castell sharpeners, depending on the pencil I'm using. But if not, then I can just use this, just sharpen it up a bit. If I don't need a very sharp point, then I can do that with this one, and then I can just save my pencil. So that's another little tip that I use. Another pen sharpener that I do have, which I didn't buy now, but it's this was an Adele sharpener. Yeah, this is an Adele sharpener, and it's basically a regular sharpener that I use just for my graphite pencils. So usually I would just take my pencil, open it up here, and sharpen it in here, and the pencil will be sharp, and then I just have the dust or the shavings are in there, and then you can just open it and drop it out. So I think this is really convenient if you're traveling or moving or working outdoors somewhere, then you just can use this one like this. For your pencil, it's fine. For regular pencils, I don't use this for color pencils though. So those are a little bit of the tips that I got for sharpening your pencils. And then I got this little plastic container where I just keep all my shavings in, and when it's full, then I just throw it out. So that's another tip just to have, so that you can have something to sharpen in, so you're not sharpening just on your table and messing up your table. If for curiosity you want to know what pencils those two were that I was showing you, this is the Gold Faber by Faber-Castell, and it is the HB, and then this is a Staedtler traditional B pencil. These, I'm not very picky with which pencil I use for my graphite pencil drawings or sketching. I use any pencil as long as it's graphite. It's fine for me. If I'm doing really, like now I purchased the Rolf's brand, but if I'm doing a really detailed portrait that I want it to be like a serious graphite drawing, then I would resort to using maybe my Lumograph, Staedtler Lumograph pencils, or my Derwent graphite pens or graphic pencils. So, but otherwise I would usually even just do an illustration with this. Whatever I have at the moment, I would just take it and sketch with it or work in my sketchbook. But these are usually the pencils that I would use, one of these brands. So those were all the products that I purchased in this particular haul. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the different products. You can expect a lot of new videos coming out where I try out the different new products that I purchased and I create some art with them and share my views on them, and as well as my process and techniques for the creation of the artwork using those products. I'm excited to try out a lot of them, like I said in the video. So you can expect some exciting new content coming out with some new techniques, learning new tutorials as well. So yeah, I have a lot of exciting things planned and going forward. So yeah, I'm going to have a lot of fun creating those videos for you and getting a lot of tutorials in as well. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some idea of the kind of products you can get, and maybe you saw something that you never saw before and it could help you to maybe think that, okay, maybe I would like to try that particular product. But I will be trying all of them out in later videos. But I just like to say again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and share. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one, bye.